Mating manual has everything to do with the mangas. For example, why did Selma almost get sacrificed to a devil? That's because the Adventuring Group's party leader decided to fist fight the cult leader. Why would he decide to run the ones with the boss? I'm gonna kill you for taking her from me. Who did I take? She was the most beautiful cereal in the world. We're talking about the Legacy that took his virginity. Why did he sell out Pan to the Soul Hunters? That then caused them to have to go on the run. Ah, that's right, the Liddies that got taken from him. In my Night of Slaughter series, how come Desolation went and purged the East of all of its civilization? He did it for the wish of his Grand Priestess, a Darkling. Hell, in Deep Stalker Crow, the only reason Mercy's even on this quest is because Pablo needed time to perform a medical evaluation on Seek, who's currently banging a Forest Elf Deep Stalker. And at first you may be like, well, what does that matter? Until you remember, she's not afraid of him. In Chapter 1, we already learned that Deep Stalkers have an innate fear aura that affects all non-Deep Stalkers. The Mating Manual is not just a guide on how creatures bang in sexy ways. It's a literal world-building tool. It is a story bible for all my manga series that exist in the same world. Biology shapes society, which shapes culture. The Mating Manual discusses the culture, the society, the history of these creatures. Lady Orgy, Desolation's Grand Priestess, she didn't become the Grand Priestess just because she was good. How Darklings are annotated for having a tolerance for unparalleled levels of isolation. Because her natural desire of extreme curiosity took over her, it drove her to become the Grand Priestess, to go through the trials and tribulations of becoming Grand Priestess. Because Darklings are aromantic and asexual, meaning they can't even really comprehend that emotion. Because she was curious about the gods and how the world works and how religion works. That she wanted to be the best Grand Priestess she could for her people, but because she could not understand love, it drove her to incredible lengths. Even to the point of sleeping with Orden, the god of battle, who would later become Desolation, which didn't get her any closer to understanding love. But these feelings that she innately had as that species drove her and her policies and her actions that would eventually lead her and her people outside to help those in need as the precious metal kingdoms were at war that would lay the trap for her death and the miracle spell that would lead to the extermination of the metal kingdoms within the East. Let's track back to the Devil's Deal with Panbiga Brimborn, which are creatures that are made from the union of men and devils. Their species are not only incredible breedable, but they are incredibly empathetic, to the point that they sit at the top of the sex industry as desirable and high earners. Their demonic nature has left them with a lot of mistrust in the system, such as the Soul Hunter. It has garnered them a stereotype, aka why Polly said we don't bang each other. And this was Pan's reaction. If all that wasn't enough to say why mating is important to understanding the world, let me give you one final example. In Chapter 11 of The Devil's Deal, we get a flashback of Polly being raised by his father and his experience. And would you look at that? Brimborn. Look at the way he talks about them. Time and time again, I sat through trials of Brimborns and sexist or helpers. He continued to say, the patterns were obvious when you were trained to see them, a disarming personality, a developed magical ability, and idols of their true nature, aka the ring. It's all rooted in their biology, how they reproduce, that affected the way society viewed them, which helped cultivate the culture that would lead to the Soul Hunter's creation. Feel free to grab a copy of my dark fantasy mangas, The Devil's Deal and Night of Slaughter. Sometimes going deep into world building means you're going into weird places, but that's okay. That's okay, because it means I care and I want to give you the best story possible.